In Trouble with the Curve, an ailing baseball scout in his twilight years takes his daughter along on one last recruiting trip.
You need to meet with a specialist. How are you going to scout this guy if your eyes aren't right?
I don't need your help. I don't know why you just don't go home.
Because I feel this dysfunctional sense of responsibility to make sure that you're okay.
I just didn't want you to have life in the cheap seats,
They
Cecil.
were the cheap seats. Spending every waking moment with my dad watching baseball. Those were the best seats in the house.
I was mainly looking forward to seeing Trouble with the Curve because of the cast. I like Clint Eastwood, I love Amy Adams, and I often like Justin Timberlake. Sometimes not, sometimes a lot. And I didn't mean to rhyme that, but okay. I'm not the biggest fan of baseball, so I wasn't necessarily interested because of the baseball aspect, but I also wasn't turned off because of it. Overall, the cast is what drew me in, and even though I think the cast is one of the best parts of this movie, I actually really enjoyed it. It was predictable, but I thought it was done very well, and so it evens out to be what I thought was a really good movie. So let's get a little more in-depth with Trouble with the Curve, starting off with the plot, which, like I said, is overall predictable, and it's not something revolutionary or new. It takes a lot of, I don't want to say cliches because that sounds really negative, but a lot of sort of themes that you've seen before and puts them together and does a good enough job with them that it feels fresh, even though looking at it, it's not. And I think that's a good thing that they were able to do that, so good for them. But aside from the fact that most of it is predictable, there were some moments and some, little plot points that I was surprised by. I don't know if surprised is the right word so much as I didn't know exactly what was going on or what was going to happen. And so even though it may have gone the predictable route, I honestly didn't really know exactly what was going to happen, so that's also another good thing. It did keep me interested. And I'm going to talk more about stuff like this when I can talk spoilers at the end of this review. Don't worry about it for now, but at the end of the review, I will talk about some of the plot that I deem spoilerish, and I don't want to ruin it for you. So let's move into the directing, which once again kind of falls into the same thing. The movie felt predictable, and that also has to do with the directing. It felt very safe. Definitely kind of a standard movie. I will say I thought some of the music was a little bit out of place. Maybe not out of place so much as too intense in certain scenes. Like there's one scene specifically where Clint Eastwood is recalling a memory, and it's not a happy memory, let's just leave it at that, but I think the music is a little too intense for what it is, so the fact that I noticed some little parts of the music that were weird, I think is worth noting. And acting-wise, like I said, I think that the cast is one of the best parts of this movie. I'll start with Justin Timberlake because he was the one that was in it the least of the main cast here. I thought that he did a better job than he has in other movies I've seen him in, but not the best job of other roles I've seen him do. Confusing, hopefully you understand what I mean, but I thought that he did a good job overall. Clint Eastwood and Amy Adams here are just great. I think they work together so well. I really bought them as father and daughter. Like, I'm pretty sure they actually are father and daughter and don't even realize it. But I thought they did a really great job. Not just the chemistry, but on their own. Clint Eastwood plays that part very well of kind of the, well, what did we call it in the intro? The ailing man. And while his character might be losing it a little bit, he is totally with it. He gets the humor, he gets the timing, and he is great. Amy Adams, a little distracting because she is absolutely beyond adorable, but in all seriousness, she plays this part very well, I think. A little bit under the emotional level, I think, that would have got me crying. I didn't tear up at any point, but I think that both of them could have done it. Didn't quite go there, but they did do a great job. And the rest of the cast, like Matt Lillard, I thought he was really good. There was a bunch of other people in the cast that were fine, nothing special other than those guys. But yeah, I think the cast is really what made this movie great because the rest of it, like I said, is a little bit, well, very predictable, but still done well. Hopefully you understand what I mean by that. And now I'm going to talk about some spoilerish stuff, so if you have not seen Trouble with the Curve, please do not keep watching. After you've seen Trouble with the Curve, you can come back and see what I had to say. So now let's move into some spoiler territory, starting off with the first thing I want to point out before I forget about it, because I'm sure I will if I don't say it now. The guy that lives at the motel, the kid that lives at the motel with his mother and brother, I guess, his whole aspect obviously was going to come up once again. Predictable movie. When he threw the peanuts, we knew he was going to come into the story again. But I do think that he was out for too long, and it felt weird. I think that he should have been in it a little bit more. And you know what they could have done? My first thought was the part where Amy Adams sees him, like, I think he's helping with groceries or something like that, whatever he's doing. I think she should have seen him playing baseball. and not really thought anything of it until later on, it would have made more sense. So I do think that he should have been in it a little bit more for the whole thing to tie up, although I thought that was great. Once again, predictable, but done well. That was really cool, that whole thing where he came in and pitched. One thing that I definitely was surprised by, and I had no idea what the heck was going to happen in this little part of the story, but the flashback to when Clint Eastwood let go of Amy Adams, and, well, not Amy Adams, but you get it, and she went into, like, that barn thing with the guy. That, definitely, I wasn't expecting that, but I was more thrown off when they first showed a little clip of it. I was like, what the hell? Because you see, like, this creepy shack, and he lets go over. I didn't know what the heck that was about. And I'd also like to point out, I love that they had the horse running at the start of the movie. I just thought that kind of tied it together well. It made me remember, oh, that's why that horse was at the start. I totally forgot about the horse. But that's all I really have to say about Trouble with the Curve. So let me know in the comments what you thought of Trouble with the Curve. What did you think of it in terms of predictability? Did you see everything coming? Did you enjoy it anyway like I did? Even though I knew, obviously, Clint Eastwood was going to be right in the end, it still was done well enough that I was very satisfied. It's a satisfying movie for sure. Let me know what you thought of the cast. Let me know anything that you want about Trouble with the Curve. And that's pretty much it.
You're still single, aren't you?
Maybe you are emotionally unavailable.
Who are you, Dr. Phil?
Hey, that is quality television.
Yeah.